Yes, team. Hope we're all good. Welcome back to another episode of the High Performance Physique podcast. It's yourself, Lewis McFarlane. Anyway, guys, absolutely buzzing for this episode. We are going to be wrapping up the core 4 of the Peak Performance project and speaking about performance today. And performance is pretty much the peak of the mountain inside the project, because once we've dialed on your physique, got you a lot more productive, you're living deep with a sense of purpose, then we can scale your performance and really get you doing some crazy motherfucking shit. So I'm going to open up this podcast with an insight to what performance now means to me and my clients and my team, and give you a little look at how I articulate this, for example. So cue the notes. But in terms of performance, we want to be able to move well, pain-free, with speed, power and confidence, being able to train anything and be ready for everything, being adaptable to the circumstances we face, and then a state of durability and consistency with our physical and psychological standards. Isn't that a fucking absolute statement? Like, if you could feel that in your life, wouldn't you pay thousands for it? Because you can have that, right? But it takes time to get that. But I'm telling you, when it comes to performance, right, the thing or the 3 core components that allow performance to actually make sense within your life comes down to, number 1, purposeful training. Because without having purpose behind your training, you can't perform. You're going to be pissing in the wind. You're going to be kind of just walking through the dark a little bit, trying to grab onto what you can to feel excited for what you're doing. Like, anyone can go in and do a push-pull legs, a 5-day split, whatever it may be. But you want to have purpose behind your training. Otherwise, you'll be aimless. Otherwise, you'll be throwing one dart and aiming for 2 dartboards. You won't really know where you're going, what you're doing, and how it looks and feels to be successful. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about me. And at certain times in my life, like, I've been in this game 10 years now. You know, I've been training for 10 years. Started when I was 15, coming up to 26 this year. I've been around the bush a wee bit. You know, I've tried a lot of shit. I've competed in bodybuilding, done loads of photo shoots. I've done marathons, half marathons, triathlons, Spartan races, you name it, I've done it, right? But this year for me was a year of reaching peak performance and challenging myself more than I've ever challenged myself before. Because as I've touched on prior in other episodes of the podcast, it's like having a goal to work towards is everything, but once you reach that goal, you need to level up again and again and again, because that element of purpose that you gain from having a goal, having an anchor to almost kind of lean against, almost something to hold you down and ground you for an outcome, allows you to be very process driven and live deep with an element of purpose every single day to move the needle forward towards that outcome, that goal, okay? And that's going to build a lot of momentum. So for me this year, I'm running a marathon through the Swiss and Italian Alps. And that's going to be a very, very big challenge for me. Because in the past, you know, I've always been the guy that just looks amazing, but, you know, big head alert, like, looks amazing, you know. But I've always been the guy who's done bodybuilding, photo shoots, been shredded, been ascetic. But I kind of got to a stage where I felt like I was outgrowing that slightly. You know, I felt like I was just becoming a little bit of an ornament. I could move the weight. I could, you know, have an amazing physique, but like actually putting yourself in a position where you're challenging yourself with something that is far bigger than you, that is quite frankly going to impact how you think, feel and perform on a higher level, is going to take you from good to great on a very consistent basis. Because setting this big goal for me has not only allowed me to change how I eat, how I sleep, how I recover, but it's changed the way I approach life. Because every single week I'm faced with a challenge that, quite frankly, I don't want to do. But when you rewrite that story within your head about what you can and can't do, that allows you to actually design your life based around being process driven, but outcome based. Because I've been told by doctors in the past through injuries that I've had, like, oh, Lewis, you won't be able to squat again. And I just squatted 190 kilos the other week. Boom. Oh, Lewis, you won't be able to run again. Well, I just ran 27 kilometers through the Highlands that weekend there. So it's like, I'm always in the mindset, I've got a bit of a chip in my shoulder. Like, I always want to be better. I always want to be stronger. I always want to be fitter. I always want to be faster. I always want to prove people wrong. But more importantly, I want to prove myself wrong by setting the bar higher and higher at any opportunity. Because in the last podcast, we were chatting briefly about when you get to the top of the mountain, the air is thin and you need to come off the mountain sooner rather than later and move on to the next goal. Like anyone who just bags a goal and sits there and being like, well, I've done a photo shoot, so I've completed fitness. Bull fucking shit. You've got a wee bit of a check mark, or a wee checkpoint we should call it, right? You need to be able to be dynamic and flexible with your approach to demand more from yourself. Otherwise, your identity, your character will almost default at that level and you won't grow any further. You'll be stuck, you'll be complacent, and then poor behaviours, bad habits will start seeping back in because you're not consistently developing. And as I've said many times, but predictability and speed will be the best thing for your success. And when you can quickly pivot and move to another goal and have purpose behind that and excitement behind that, believe you me, you will become someone who is building a formidable, strong level of confidence in their life and their body and within the pursuits to become fitter and better every single day. So performance will always go full circle, and it will start with you and it will end with you. And when you're willing to push that performance needle, I'll tell you here right now that when you can really dial in your nutrition, dial in your training, that the outcome from just showing up day after day and pushing the performance needle, let's say running, let's say CrossFit, let's say powerlifting, let's say bodybuilding, whatever it may be, that will breed the result you're looking for, you know. But it doesn't just stop with your physical performance, it's your mental performance as well. And when you can reach an element of peak performance flow state, not feel like anything's missing, have your ducks in a row, you know who you are, you know what you want, you know what you're working towards, your identity shifts through the gears when you're running through a systematic process of becoming better. So with purposeful training, when you actually dive into it and you have a goal that's bigger than you, the mindset that you'll create off the back of that will allow you to demand more from yourself, and the confidence and the courage that you will build through doing these harder things consistently will be the exact thing that allows you to level up across the board. And when you can start fully sending it towards something that is bigger and scarier than what you potentially perceived you could actually do, that is what is going to allow you to have purpose within your training. So it's just about knowing what you're doing, why you're doing it, and actually having intent behind those decisions you make day to day. Because let's say you want to lose body fat, and I'm always just going to go back to fat loss because I'm very good at helping people lose body fat. But with fat loss, right, if you say to yourself, I need to lose 50 pounds, but there's no constraint on that, there's no dead end to that, there's like, you don't have, let's say, a photo shoot, you don't have, let's say, a date that you need to be in shape for, a wedding, a birthday, whatever it may be, you'll give yourself the rest of your life to fucking lose it, you know. So I think a massive core component of having purpose behind your training is having constraints, you know, like I will lose 30 pounds of body fat by X date, or I forfeit this. You know, it's like setting up almost a challenge inside your own life to create that energy, that momentum behind the goal is going to be absolutely fundamental for your growth. And then let's say, for example, I will have this powerlifting competition in the next 3 months, so I need to get as strong as humanly possible over the next 3 months. That's purpose, because there's an outcome, but it allows the process behind outcome to be much more intentful, have a lot more kind of moving parts to it, because you have to start living your life by design rather than default when it actually comes to doing the work day after day, rather than just being a gym bro and showing up and doing a little warm session here or there and hitting McDonald's after and tanning chicken nuggets because you think it's #protein. Like, that's not fucking purpose. There's no purpose behind that whatsoever. You're just doing something because you think you should do it rather than you need to do it because you want it. And the thing is, it's about actually wanting to be better. It's actually wanting to drive that performance needle forward and allow yourself to embody a new philosophy by doing harder things. And I think that is something that so many people overlook about the mental benefits that can come from setting a challenge for themselves. And so many people like say to me, oh Lewis, I need to challenge myself. Oh Lewis, I need to do this. And it's like, it's not going to make sense until we realise the why behind it. Like for me, doing this mountain marathon, the why runs deep into my body, because I've done marathons before, I've done powerlifting, I've done bodybuilding, I've done the physique stuff, like, But see, if I've set this goal with the elevation, with the distance, with the heat, I know for a fact that this is going to create the man that I want to be. Like, I think there's levels to this game. In every level, there's a new devil. And this is my next devil. And I know for a fact the preparation, the training, the person I need to be for this is going to be far, far, far stronger, more driven, more articulate, more passionate, more compassionate about who I am, what I want, how I show up, and the stories I'll be able to tell off the back of it, not only from me to my clients, but from me to life. Like, you learn things when you're going through these processes. You learn so much, not only about yourself, but so much about the game. You know, the other week when I was on that mountain face, and I'd ran out of fuel, I'd ran out of hydration, I'd ran out of self-confidence to even move myself another step, and my quads were cramping, I was sunburnt, I was sweating. I'd already started to tell myself the story that I'd failed, right? But the body gives up before the mind, and I found a way out of that little hole. I found a way out because I'd set the fucking goal, and I know every step I took, small step, big step, running, sprinting, jogging, it was a step in the right fucking direction towards where I needed to go. And I was not getting off that mountain without completing the goal. Why? Because it was part of the fucking plan. And that is the purpose. You need to have that why, that anchor, that purpose within the daily actions, within the non-negotiables, within the routines, and within how you actually hold yourself when it comes to walking and talking with a higher standard and creating the life that you want for yourself based upon the challenges you now do each and every single day. So, in performance as well, this is something I've been learning a lot about recently, but you need to have sports performance nutrition in place. And I like to call it automatic nutrition. Why automatic, right? When you think of something that's automatic, it sounds like there's a system, there's flow, it's simple and it's easy, and that's what we want to now embody within your life with nutrition. So many people find nutrition extremely complicated, and that is just down to poor knowledge, poor judgment, poor behaviour, and what they've been taught over the course of their entire life from growing up, simply put. But when you can start remodelling your nutrition to fuel the performance, fuel the vehicle, which is you, to drive that performance needle forward, it really allows you to understand what the body needs when it needs it. I'm going to speak about nutrition and use the story again of me on that mountain face last weekend, because when I was, dying, legs were cramping, I'd ran out of the electrolytes, the fuel and the hydration, I felt like I couldn't take that next step. Somebody passed me a banana, and I ate that, and I felt like fucking Popeye. And the potassium flushed the lactic acid out my quads and helped mitigate any inflammation around my joints, and allowed me to go another mile, another 2 miles, another 3 miles. And it's like, when you know the ins and outs about how food makes you feel and how food makes you perform better, then you can start being realistic with the foods that you consume, the foods that you buy, the foods that you actually bring into your house, and how they're going to make you look, feel, and perform across the board. Because see, when you have no purpose within your training, no direction of where you're going, nutrition is going to be the next thing that is sabotaged, because you have no direction of what the goal really is and what you want from yourself. Therefore, you will not buy the right foods. You will go into Aldi, you will stop at the bakery, you will look at your club card points, and pretty much just grab 4 of the Empire biscuits, 4 of the cookies, 4 of the muffins. You're going to bypass the fruit section. You're going to buy the cheapest, nastiest meat that's there, doner kebab pizzas. You're going to buy tubs of cream cheese and fucking protein yogurts. And then you're going to get some kids' cereal. And that's going to be your shopping. It's going to be stupid. It's going to be ridiculous. You're not going to be nourishing your body with healthy foods. But when it comes down to actually having automatic nutrition, what we need to understand and really get clear upon is how the food is going to make you feel. How the food is going to nourish the body, reduce inflammation, allow recovery to be 10x, allow yourself to get enough protein in the system. Because see, when you're buying cheap quality foods, cheap quality meats, low quality protein sources, the chances of you recovering better, building the muscle, dropping the fat, are going to be far, far harder than they would be if you were to actually nourish the body from a health first system, right? There's a couple of rules that I like to have in place, which is one, obviously track your food the night before, be crystal clear in when you're eating, what you're eating for breakfast, lunch, dinner and snack, which I described in the Physique podcast. If you've not listened to that yet, please go listen to it. But then on top of that, it's nourishing the body from a health first system. Eating off a 80-20 rule, 80% whole, nutrient-dense foods. They make you feel great, perform great, and absolutely crush your training and performance goals, as well as feel good mentally, and also improve your gut health, your digestion, your bowel movements. Like, when all that's looked after, you're an efficient fucking machine. But then if you have loads of poor quality foods coming in, your bowel movements are going to be all over the place. Your energy is going to be up and down. Your blood glucose management is not going to be where it now needs to be. And then that 20% more flexible food, more fun food, that's when you can have those dinners out. That's when you can have some fucking ice cream, a couple of cookies here and there. But it's like, when the good days outweigh the bad days, nutrition doesn't touch the sides, because you're nourishing the body from that health first system. And that's going to be super fucking important for anyone out there that is looking to optimize their nutrition approach. So it's like, eat more whole nutrient dense foods. And there's a wee phrase that I like to say to my clients, but if it comes from the field, the farm, a tree or the sea, then it's good for you. Like, eat more of that stuff and put it into perspective. Like, all the stuff that you would naturally eat that is coming from the world itself, that's the stuff that's going to work for you. That's the stuff that's tried and tested. Eat more of that stuff. And then all the processed stuff, the 20% more kind of fun, flexible foods, things that actually been through a process chain to make. Things like your bagels, your crisps, your sweeties, all that kind of stuff. Like, limit that, because all those sugars, all those salts, the sodium, the inflammation that you're going to have off the back of overeating on these foods is going to cause you to gain sebaceous water weight, body fat. Your joints are going to be achy, your energy is going to be up and down. And you're just going to make the whole process so much harder than it naturally would be if you were to eat more whole nutrient-dense foods. And that's why I'm a massive proponent on eating from a health-first system. And that's how you're going to create automatic nutrition. 1, know your macros, know your calories. Be in a state of nourishing the body with whole nutrient-dense foods. Eat from an 80-20 rule. 80% more whole foods, 20% more fun, flexible foods. And be in a state of giving the body what it needs rather than what you want in the short term. Because everyone wants to eat the Mars bar, everyone wants to eat the chocolate, the jelly beans, whatever it may be. But if you actually just say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to have a fucking apple. Like, I have a laugh with this with my clients sometimes, but I post in the group sometimes and I say, I walked into the fridge there and I was going to have some chocolate, but I said, Lewis, you fat fucking cunt, have an apple. And I just say that straight away, and have an apple, because sometimes you got to get good at calling yourself out, because once I had the apple and a glass of water, I was fine. That's what I needed, rather than eating chocolate and wanting more and more, than tanning a whole bar of chocolate and my insulin's all over the place, then I crash off the back of it and I feel shit. It's like, get into the mindset of casting more votes for the better decision for the person you want to be, and automate your nutrition approach by having good quality food in the house. Never bring the devil into the house is an old phrase that I like to say. So if you are someone who, buys a sleeve of biscuits, and if they pop one, the whole sleeve's fucking done. Don't bring them into the house. Have them when you're out and about if needs be. Actually, don't limit yourself from the food that you really, really enjoy, but just try not binge on it. Try your absolute best not to binge on it, because we all know what binge eating does to your psychology. It causes a lot of self-belief issues, self-doubt, self-trust issues. And when you start falling into a binge eating cycle, you start limiting yourself for who you could be rather than from what you can do. And that's not a place to operate from, because it's going to hold you back with how you feel in your body, how you perform, how you think, and how you move. So on top of that, optimized health and vitality. So for optimized health, I look at this from a standpoint of not being the biggest, strongest, most jacked person ever, but almost being like a supple leopard, someone who is lean, strong, fast, efficient, mobile. I'm a massive proponent on my clients being mobile, flexible, mitigating injuries and stress in the body through proper mobility routines. So you want to always have movement at the forefront of mind, like function over form, be able to function first, and then the form in which you create inside the gym will impact that and allow you to get stronger through different ranges of motion. Things like I like to think about here is, if you can't even do a bodyweight squat with your heels still on the floor and your knees pushing out and your chest upright, don't you fucking dare put a barbell on your back. Like, learn actually how to squat first, and then you can start scaling it with strength building moves, performance building moves. And let's say if you've got really bad knees and you think going running is going to allow you to lose body fat, it's like, no, let's scale things back. Let's cycle more. Let's do more mobility. Let's strengthen the muscles around the legs through some machine-based activities to actually build the vastus medialis up, the hamstrings up, the calves up, and get your body right, you know? But you want to put yourself in that position of optimized health where you're actually leading with the value of what you want at the forefront of your mind first, because when you are literally just copying other people and doing what they do, it's not going to be right for you. It's not going to be right for you whatsoever. So you need to be strong, you need to be healthy, you need to be mobile, you need to perform well under stress, under load. And as I touched on, like, when you're in a good spot and you can look at your body and ask yourself, what do I need, right? If you're a runner, you probably don't need more side delt, right? If you're a power lifter, you probably don't need to do calf raises. Like, there's wee things. It's like, look at your body, look at the purpose behind the goal. What is it you're trying to achieve? What can I maximize? What can I minimize? And how can I get the best for myself? But always leading with optimized health and vitality in mind is going to be one of the things that allows you to actually ask yourself, what does a healthy version of me look like? What's a healthy version of me sound like? How do they think and how do they actually move? Because when you are crystal clear on that, and you have that flexibility, you have that structural integrity, you have that strength in your body, but you can also, you know, carry the kids up the stairs at night because you've got a strong back. You can actually take the shopping in up the 3 flights of stairs in your flat. You can actually bend over if you drop a tea bag on the floor when you're making a cuppa without snapping your shit up. It's like, if you can't just move normally as a human, don't expect to move extremely well inside the gym. So it's like, actually have health at the forefront of your mind. And that comes down to nutrition as well. Make sure it's clean and tidy based off what I've spoke about prior to this point. And then vitality, you know, like actually having your internal health system optimized for performance and recovery. Good blood flow, low heart rate, good lung function, healthy skin, like all the organs in your body. Your skin is the biggest organ in your body. You know, and having healthy skin is going to be a massive, massive part for even just your overall inflammation and recovery. If you've got these like blotches or rashes or psoriasis or spots and stuff popping up, it's like, probably address your nutrition first. Probably address your exercise. You know, because we just get doctored and peppered with creams and ailments and ointments and fucking pills these days. But in reality, it's like the amount of people that I've taken on board my coaching program, and they might have psoriasis, they might have skin issues, they might have heartburn, and we tidy up their food, give them proper training routines, give them a supplementation panel to follow, do their blood work potentially and see exactly where they're at. Within a month, they're off medication. You know, it might even be for IBS, it might even be for heartburn, it might be for consistent migraines, it might be for joint health issues. Like, all of a lot of many things can be fixed by putting health at the forefront of your mind every single day. And I've seen this, and I wouldn't say this confidently if I didn't believe it, because I know it with my heart and my head. Like, I've been told by doctors, Lewis, you'll never run again, you'll never squat again. Look at me fucking now. Look at me fucking now. And it's because I took the time. I done the mobility, I supplemented well, got the right sleep, I trained with purpose in mind, I nailed all the things that I'm talking about here. And I know if you want to change, you can too. If you want to make these steps in your fitness journey to become a better man, a stronger man, a healthier man, someone that you would be extremely proud of when you're lying on your deathbed looking back in your life, think about the stories you'll be able to tell, rather than saying, like, maybe your son's looking at you in 10, 15 years time and he's like, oh dad, so what did you do between your 20s and 40s? Oh, I just worked and ate Doritos out my belly button sitting on the couch. It's like, no son, I ran marathons, I powerlifted, I had a cracking physique, I was strong, I built businesses, like I helped others with their health and their fitness. Like, think about how much more empowering that's going to be to plant those seeds in your family's mind. And it's like, all of this, guys, like your purpose, your physique, your performance, your productivity, it's like, cool, great, I get that. but who are you fucking doing it for? Think about the people you can impact by just being better. Think about the legacy you can leave for your family, your relationships, your partner. Think about the people you can change their perspective of based upon how you show up. Like, think about all the things that you can do by being a better man. Like, I get clients telling me, it's like, Lewis, at the start of the year I was like borderline depressed, but from getting these weekly charity 10Ks in and getting my body in a good spot and actually nailing my food better, it's like I feel phenomenal in the best spot of my life. Like that's something I don't joke about lightly. I'm not even joking about it, but it's like, I just know how good you motherfuckers can feel if you gave yourself the opportunity to take these core notes, take these core components to optimize your physique, your performance, your productivity, and your purpose, and live on a higher physical and psychological level, and just demand more from yourself. Be a bit more driven, be a bit more ambitious, be a bit more excited about your life. Don't ever feel like you're lacking something, because that white space will kill you. That's where self-sabotage steps in. Like, create the identity of the person you want to be. Live true to that purpose behind the goal. Don't cut corners. Play the fucking game. Cash those checks in to the bank of self-development and watch yourself progress. Get strong, get lean, get jacked, get confident, get sexy. Have a better fucking life. I see so many people waste their time and wait till they're 35, 40, 45, 50 to even realise that they need to change, and have lived an entire life of regret until then. So from a young guy telling anyone out there watching this, like, take your fucking chance, do it. Take one step today and start improving your life. Demand more from yourself. And every time that you put your head in the pillow at the end of the night, you know you'll have done yourself justice and you can be proud of yourself. And that purpose will be like radiating every single day. Like, you'll just feel it. People will notice it. People will see it. And I want that to be something you guys can just embody and live by. And that's some of the ethos behind the Peak Performance Project. So guys, I'll see you in the next episode. I'm very excited to dive into chapter 2 of the podcast. It's going to be phenomenal. Much love. Speak to you soon.